Well, hello there, sixth hour, and anybody else who's watching this video. Here I am. It is sixth hour, and I apologize for not being able to be with you. But I don't want to leave you in a different spot than the rest of the classes are. So welcome to Studio Art 360. I am Mr. Korb, your esteemed teacher, and I miss you. I'm in a committee meeting, so hi from there. Today what we're going to do is, you've already watched the short little video about late work, so make sure that you've taken care of any late work. Tomorrow, Thursday, I'll be gone. Friday, I'm here, so you can turn in any late sketchbooks then. Today what we're doing is we're going to take a look at your objects, and just like you did last week's sketchbook, you're going to be dealing with thumbnail drawings. Now, hopefully, your guest teacher, whomever that's going to be, will find the link on our webpage that says Composition Examples. And before we get to that, and actually, you could do it right now, because this is probably going to last a while. You could draw out examples of composition examples based on what you see over here on our display boards and what I'm going to talk about over the next few minutes. So compositions, it doesn't matter how you arrange objects on your piece of paper or your canvas or with your sculptural objects, you're creating some sort of composition. We're going to talk about 5 of them today. We're going to start with open composition, closed composition. We're going to deal with rule of thirds. We're also going to talk about left third and right third compositions. So looking at my board, the closed composition, this is a closed composition. And the closed composition, all of the objects are contained within the picture plane. One of the neat things about this particular drawing was I was able to expand my format box as I drew. I started out with a small format box, and then as my picture got bigger, I needed to expand that format box. Really important. A lot of people are leaving out the format box as they're working, so draw out the format box, and once you resolve your composition, knock it in a little bit more solid. So in a closed composition, everything's contained within those 4 edges. An open composition, where's my open composition? Oh, staying right in front of it. The best side of me there, sorry about that. In an open composition, the objects fall off of the picture plane. So my cylinder falls up and to the side. My cube falls off the side. My pyramid falls off the side. So I'm dealing with those 4 same edges, but things are expanding beyond those 4 edges. Rule of thirds is very popular in the world of photography. And I think a lot of the photography is rule of thirds because cameras now create this grid on their viewfinder for us. So in this case, in rule of thirds, I've got a grid, a tic-tac-toe game board drawn out on my picture plane. And then my focal point, in this case the pyramid, is at this intersection. Now what I've also done is I've created my other objects that line up on this other vertical. So in rule of thirds, my focal point happens at one of these 4 intersections. It doesn't have to happen in the lower right-hand corner. It can happen in the upper left, or the lower left, or the upper right. But my focal point does happen at one of those 4. Another one of my compositions is the left third. So instead of doing what amateurs do and putting your focal point smack dab in the middle of the picture plane, I push it to the side. In this case, most of the composition's in the left 1/3. That gives me lots of negative space over here to play around with. And then right third is just the opposite. Right third, most of the composition happens in the right third of the picture plane with all of this negative space happening here. Some of the things we've talked about throughout the morning has been positive space, negative space. So we've got our positive space of the objects, and we got the negative space of the background in the tabletop. We've also got figure-ground relationship. So in this case over here, the figures are the forms, and then the ground is represented by the shadows cast on the ground, as well as even this little tiny arc which represents the brown stool that sits in the front of the classroom that I can sit on occasionally. And other things that we play around with is that the idea, time to go, bye, just kidding. Some of the other things we talk about is how the thumbnail drawings allow us to solve problems before we get there. We've got some painting students who recently completed an assignment, and their thumbnails didn't really consist of this kind of work, but of small collages they built and then arranged objects and then glued them down once they were happy. One of our students didn't do that. And part of the critique we had today was how that it helps to do that, and that was kind of a struggle for that student. So these are things to keep in mind as we work. There's lots more types of compositions. So what I'd like you to do now is take a look at my composition examples. In that worksheet on the link off of my website, I'm using lemons. I didn't paint them. I don't paint lemons too often, but the artists that did paint them did a great job. So take a look in your sketchbooks and draw out examples of the closed composition, the open composition, the rule of thirds, the left third, and the right third. And in your case, don't try to do anything fancy. Just draw a format box and use shapes, circles or squares. I think circles are probably the easiest. So that's up on my website, artwithkorb.com, and you can find composition examples right there. I'll be back tomorrow, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or stop me later today when you see me. Otherwise, you got 2 things to work on today. 1, your 5 thumbnail drawings in your sketchbook and your value sheets, your chiaroscuro worksheets. Oh, I so wish I were there, Julia, because there's so much Italian I was going to just absolutely wreck for you to laugh at me for. So anyways, we'll see you guys later today or tomorrow.